Well, hello, boys and girls. It's that time of year again. It's WrestleMania season. And I wanted to put together a video for WrestleMania. So what better way than to debut a new series called This or That and put a little wrestling spin on it. Well, This or That's going to be where we take this and we compare it to that. And I tell you which one I enjoy better. So on this week's episode, we're going to be doing This and That of Shawn Michaels. This being the new generation era versus that, which is Shawn Michaels in the Ruthless aggression era. And we will discuss both, come to a conclusion of which one we think is better. So let's roll the intro and then we'll get this party started. All right, let's get this started. Today we're going to talk about this first. This meaning Shawn Michaels in the new generation era. From circa about, 92 to 96, through 96, we're going to say. I mean, all these eras have different numbers of years, but that's what more specifically we're going to talk about. Because this is right when Shawn Michaels broke up with the Rockers and went out on his own. He came out, he was doing, at first they didn't know what they had in him, so they put him with Sensational Sherry for a little bit. But I guess they realized, he didn't need a mouthpiece. This dude could talk. And quickly he was having, some good matches with people, like, Mr. Perfect, British Bulldog, and this is the early, when the Intercontinental times, feuding with Bret Hart early on in their career. So, I mean, he had some pretty good matches in this time, and, he played a decent baby face and a great heel, but the knocks on Shawn Michaels at just this time period was that he was hard to work with. He was a diva. Always backstage politicking something here or there. I mean, but he was one of the two guys of this era. That was him and Bret Hart. And him and Bret Hart had some classic matches, some 5-star matches, some great freaking matches here. Obviously the main one that comes to mind is WrestleMania 12, 1996 from Anaheim. The Iron Man match that went into overtime. It's a great match. I mean, I just watched it the other day. Really. I used to not really like it so much because, back then, matches like that were not the normal. But, looking back on it, watching it now, it is a great match. And Shawn Michaels put his heart in the ring. A lot of the times, there was some real beef with him and Bret Hart, which made it even better. But see, mainly, that's basically really, outside of a couple great matches with Razor Ramon, ladder matches, which Shawn Michaels did most of the work. Even Razor Ramon will tell you that. And a lot of people say WrestleMania 10, Shawn Michaels went out there and wrestled a ladder. Razor Ramon was just there. But mainly, this era, just Shawn Michaels is defined by his feud with Bret Hart. And, as this era came to an end, and a lot of people say, well, why ain't you doing the Attitude Era? Well, he only had a little cup of coffee in the Attitude Era. That's what I'm trying to get to. Up until then, towards the end, DX really started the Attitude Era, but he was really only there for like a year in the Attitude Era until he got hurt and couldn't go on anymore. So Shawn Michaels in the Attitude Era is not really anything special. Shawn really did. I mean, he started earning the name Mr. WrestleMania back in the New Generation era, and I mean, he's just great. One of the two, like I said earlier. But really, back in that time, there really wasn't that many great wrestlers. It was him and Bret Hart. Razor Ramon could go a little bit. Owen Hart could go. And I mean, Shawn had a couple great matches with him in this time period, and the Undertaker. Undertaker, I mean, it speaks for himself. One of the best big men in the ring of all time. Honestly, that's my honest opinion. But just from a handful of guys, we didn't really get to really see the talent, and you knew it was there, and it was rough, but. And them backstage politics and that attitude, it really hurts them in this time period. So, but before we make a final decision, let's go over here to that and discuss that a little bit. All right, let's talk about that, which we all know is Ruthless Aggression Era. And let's just talk a little bit about Shawn Michaels and the Ruthless Aggression. This is where he became Mr. WrestleMania. This is where he became the showstopper. Come on. The level of competition that he got here, he's got some guys that can go with him. WrestleMania, especially after WrestleMania. But let's talk about that very first match back. It's one of my favorite SummerSlam matches against Triple H, the No Holds Bar, and I mean, unlicensed street fight, whatever you want to call it. I mean, they beat the ever-loving shit out of each other in this match. You could tell he had a little bit of ring rust, but he still had it, buddy. He still had it. And, when he come back, it was a little bit of slow getting it back into the groove, But, we soon found out that Shawn Michaels, he might have even got better when he was after his time off. And let's go back to these WrestleMania matches. I mean, he had Chris Jericho, a great match in this era, which I forgot to, talk about the era. I figure it's about 2002 to all the way through 2006 is usually the universal of the Ruthless Aggression. 2007 they started going into this universe era or whatever the hell they call it. I don't know. The new one with John Cena leading it. But, he had matches with Chris Jericho that was great, especially that WrestleMania, one of the most underrated WrestleMania matches of all time. His match against Kurt Angle at WrestleMania, fucking beautiful. I love it. 5 stars. If I could give it more than 5 stars, I'd give it probably about 12 stars, that match. I mean, just match after match. Ric Flair, the retirement match. Oh, my God, it was beautiful. It might have come after this a little bit, but, this was the Shawn Michaels we'd want. I mean, he was Christian now. He was more calm. He was listening backstage. He was better person, a better worker. Everything about him was just like, he come full circle. And, I'm not going to get into his personal problems in between the eras, because we all know them. This is about explaining, the matches, character, and then, forming an opinion of which one was better. So that's all I'm doing here. But yes, great matches. I mean, and then the reunited DX around 2006. My favorite, much better than the time before, when they were both going no holds barred. There was certain stuff that Shawn Michaels wouldn't do that was just hilarious. The reactions to what Triple H was doing, and it was just some funny, good stuff. I mean, it was just like great. Like, I know the cookout episode. If you haven't seen that one, you can find the clips on YouTube or WWE Network. It was a very good one when Mr. Fuji's at, because he's like, "Is Mr. Fuji out there?" And then Triple H gets the flash. But yeah, great era for Shawn Michaels. And then follow this up. Even he had even some even better matches in there after this, but we're not really talking about the Universe era or whatever the hell it's called. Because he had them great matches with Undertaker and all that at WrestleMania. But this is the beginning of that. So, I think it's time for our final decision here. I would like to say that I think the Ruthless Aggression, Shawn Michaels blows the new generation Shawn Michaels away, just because he was in it more, not only in it for himself, but for the good of the company. And he just an overall better person by this point. So, when somebody is a better person and looking out for more than just himself, it's going to make him a better wrestler. So, I mean, while there are some great moments, and I mean, this just shows how great Shawn Michaels is. It don't matter when he was young, greener than goose shit, the grizzled veteran, he's still great. He's still the best. I consider him the greatest professional wrestler of all time. Maybe not my favorite, but I consider him the best overall, because the man could talk and he put on hell of matches. Just great. I mean, I hope everybody enjoys the WrestleMania this year. It's going to be a little bit different two-nighter, but I think it was pre-recorded. I don't know. I haven't really been keeping up with WWE here lately, but with no audience, WrestleMania 36, it's going to be a little different. But it's still WrestleMania. We still get a little nostalgic. We still want to watch the old matches this time of the year. I mean, it's overall, it's the greatest point of the year for a wrestling fan. And, yeah. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Share. Let your friends know about us. And we got more content coming. I got a couple more ideas for this type of video. And it's not just going to be wrestling. This could be anything, this or that. We could take, like, let's say, a band. Say they're out multiple decades and their sound changes. So we take this, that, same concept here, or two similar movies that come out at a similar time. In fact, I don't want to do any spoilers, but the next one that I'm going to do is that scenario. So, yeah. So y'all just keep on, and I got a couple enjoys shitty movies coming up. Watches, review shitty movies that I'm going to probably get to recording here shortly and have them out in the coming week, but no later than the weekend. And once I hope y'all are staying safe out there. Stay at home, people. Let's try to curb this shit. Unless your job or whatever is just essential and you have to get out, stay at home. But that's all I'm going to say about that. And then I hope y'all have a wonderful day. And remember, if you're ever in Georgia, eat a peach for peace. Shoot her out.